Hey everybody, I'm Jill Redfern and welcome to Third Shift Movement Shop, home of literal technique. This tutorial is about the basics of using the Erector Spinae as stabilizers in our dance technique. The Erector Spinae is a muscle group. There are three long muscles on either side of the 33 vertebrae that stabilize the vertebrae in their anatomical curves. But the Erector Spinae also extend the vertebrae and they flex the vertebrae side to side. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about them as stabilizers so that we can begin to think about them in conjunction with the four abdominals as stabilizers. Remember, in literal technique, there are 7 muscles that are central to our alignment. That means that they align, stabilize, and move the central bones. And to refresh your memory, the central bones are the 33 vertebrae, the skull, the ribcage barrel, and the pelvic barrel. The Erector Spinae either originate or insert in some way on the central bones, all the central bones. So they are one of the 7 muscles that are central to alignment. I've done a tutorial on the anatomy. I'm not going to use specific terms about the anatomy for the Erector Spinae, but please take a look at that if you'd like to get some background about where these muscles are in your body. But I will tell you this, the Erector Spinae, to give you a sense of how they are going to stabilize the 33 vertebrae, they connect on 3 points on the skull. That's how far up they are. They connect on what are called the spinous processes, which are little projections of bone on the vertebrae. They also connect on the transverse processes, which are also bone projections on the vertebrae. They connect onto the ribs. They connect down into the sacrum, on the center ridge of the sacrum, and then what are called 2 lateral ridges, 2 side ridges. They're also connecting onto the iliac crest down in here. So think about this in your own body. This muscle is coming here, it's coming down here, and into the sacrum. You can see how it's possible that they are going to stabilize and move the 33 vertebrae, given the expanse of them. So when we talk about them as stabilizers, it's a little hard. It's easier to feel the Erector Spinae when we're extending the vertebrae or when we're laterally flexing the vertebrae. But when we're using them as stabilizers, the only way to really tell that we're using them is, first of all, knowing where they are, but also you'll have to feel them contracted. So if they're here, for example, if you feel the ridge of muscle along the side of the vertebrae, that's your Erector Spinae. So go ahead and do that now and just get a sense of where those are. What I want to do is a quick little sort of exercise that will let you start to feel the sensation of these muscles when they're contracted. So I'm standing in parallel first. I've got all 4 abdominals contracted. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to act like I'm going to sit down. And I'm going to come back up. I'm staying in my anatomical curves, in my 33 vertebrae. We're not flexing, extending. We're not doing any of that. We're just going to try to sit. The 4 abdominals are stabilizing the ribcage barrel and the pelvic barrel, so the vertebrae stay in their anatomical curves. And what you should be feeling is along the sides of the lumbar vertebrae and up here into the thoracic vertebrae, you should be feeling muscle. That's the erector spinae. Put your hands back here, and when we do this exercise, feel them contract. Four abdominals are contracted, keeping the anatomical curves. It's just a small little sit. And that will show, I'm starting to feel it up into here. So that gives you an idea of when you're upright, when you're in your anatomical curves, those muscles are going to support the 33 vertebrae. So now here we are, and in our technique, our abdominal muscles are contracted. The erector spinae are there. And when we start to need to stabilize to remain upright, you will start to feel them. Do a little tendu in and out to the side. You'll start to feel them, and you want to feel all the way up into the skull on those three places. Here I am, I'm upright. My vertebrae are in their anatomical curves, and one of the reasons that they're stable is because the erector spinae muscles are all along the sides in our backs. Okay, in your class this week, continue practicing feeling the four abdominals contracted. We're now going to add the erector spinae to that so that we start to build an understanding of the 7 muscles that are central to our alignment. So do this little exercise. Feel the sensation of the erector spinae, and then in your class, when you get into the actual class, do that other stuff in your warm-up. Sorry, I meant to say that. But when you get into your actual class and you're doing tendu or plies or whatever you're doing in the beginning of that class, start to feel the use of the four abdominals and the erector spinae in keeping the body upright, keeping the anatomical curves. If you're in the anatomical curves, you will have a neutral lumbosacral joint. Continue to think about it that way. The barrels are aligned. The abdominals are keeping them neutral. We're in our anatomical curves. And now we've added the erector spinae. Okay, I'll see you next week.